Hi, and welcome to the webinar. We're just going to give it a few more minutes to let everyone log in. Brandon, are you there today?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. How you doing, Brandon?
Doing good.
Long time no chat.
I know, right?
We're just going to give it right up into the start time here for people to get logged in. Looks like we got a couple more
Sounds good.
minutes. Okay, one more minute and we'll get started. All right, let's get started. So, my name is Joel Wilhelm. I'm the Director of Channel Sales here at phoenixNAP. And with us today is Brandon.McCoy, a Cloud System Engineer at Veeam Software. Brandon, if you would like to introduce yourself real quick. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, let me see if we can get this to the front here. Okay, I apologize there. It sounds like we might be having a little bit of an audio issue, but my name is Joel Wilhelm. I'm the Director of Channel Sales here with phoenixNAP, and we wanted to talk today about how to advance your Veeam reseller capabilities in the channel with phoenixNAP and a holistic approach to Office 365. On the webinar today is my co-presenter, Brandon.McCoy with Veeam. Veeam, if you would introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Brandon.McCoy. I am a system engineer supporting the Veeam Cloud service provider team here in Atlanta, Georgia. Happy to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us today. So we're going to run through this real quick. I believe it's only going to be about 15-20 minutes in duration. And we just wanted to start off with a quick high-level overview of phoenixNAP. I believe some of our channel partners are on the phone today. You may have a good understanding of us today, so we'll keep this short. We are an outsourced IT infrastructure services provider across the globe. I do want to point out that based on this map here, it would appear that we have a lot of locations that we can target with Veeam Cloud Backup, but I want to point out the nodes that are important: Amsterdam, Netherlands, Ashburn, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, and our Singapore location are all active Cloud Connect nodes for Veeam that can be targeted with Veeam Cloud Connect backups, Office 365 backups, and cloud replication. So those are the points on the map that are most interesting to the conversation we're having today. We were founded in 2009. We are growing. We're growing at about 20 to 30% year over year in revenue, and we have approximately 500 employees around the world. And we are well known for data center co-location, cloud services, backup, and disaster recovery. We've won some really interesting awards recently. Best New Product of the award at the Channel Partners Evolution Show in Philadelphia just a few weeks ago. We are really excited to launch the Office 365 backup solution, and that was a brand new product for us at the show. And we were able to take away the Best of Product award for the show. We've also won the Rising Star Award with Veeam, and we are a national platinum partner with Veeam across the country. So we want to talk a little bit about the opportunity that Office 365 presents to the channel. What's most interesting about this is the sheer quantity of companies that are utilizing Office 365 and the quantity of customers that are going to be going to Office 365 in the next year. So our current analysis of the market, we've got 140 million and growing Office 365 users, and we have about 50 million that are planning to migrate to Office 365 in the next 12 months. So there's quite a bit of companies out there that probably have less than adequate protection for their mission critical data, their emails, and things like that. And we're going to get into talking about how we protect that data a little bit better than what's done natively with Microsoft Office 365 backup.
All right. Thanks, Joel. So if you want to control the slides there, I'll go ahead and speak to these. So I'd like to start out with a question that I get asked a lot by customers and service providers alike, and that's, why do I need a backup of Office 365, right? It's almost become a cliche, that question, where we get a lot of customers that ask that when they think that everything is in the cloud, I don't have to worry about that, but really that couldn't be further from the truth. And we're going to really get into Office 365 and the public cloud's shared responsibility model, and kind of give you some reasons for why you need a cloud backup. So if you don't mind going to the next slide for me there. So if anyone's familiar with the Gartner quadrant, Gartner has some things to say about Office 365 as well. And one of the things there is the reasons why customers need a backup of Office 365 and why you as a reseller can really benefit from offering this to your customers, right? We see here that the adoption of Office 365 continues to grow from 25% usage today all the way up to 50% by 2020 as we see more and more customers getting away from the on-prem exchange and kind of migrating to a cloud option. And then as we educate those customers as to the fact of why they need a backup becomes even more important. So some qualifying questions to ask your clients. It's pretty simple. The first was, have you deployed Office 365, right? If you have, then you need a backup for that solution. So Veeam Backup for Office 365 does offer you the ability to make sure that your backups are secure and that you can keep your data when you need it. Another question is, can Veeam Backup for Office 365 be used as a standalone product, or does it require other Veeam products? So Veeam Backup for Office 365 is a separate standalone product that works on its own. However, there are some Veeam tools that can be utilized for free at the customer side in order to do restores, and we'll dive into that a little bit deeper later on. And so the third question here, do you want to have the option to back up Office 365 from any location, right? And we say that hyper availability of Office 365 requires secure backup of SharePoint, OneDrive, and Exchange data to another location. To mitigate the risk and ensure that peace of mind, you'll be able to restore your users' data whenever needed, right? So having multiple copies of that data. So let's get into the shared responsibility model and kind of tackle that question of why do I need to back up data that's in the cloud? So Microsoft's responsibility that we see here on the top is their primary responsibility of being a global infrastructure, right? That means that the uptime of their services are always going to be guaranteed, right? And we see the supporting technology here, that geo-redundancy. So if their data center gets hit with a tornado or some kind of storm or power outage, they're going to be able to replicate their data center pretty quickly to another location, right? They also have the recycling bin so that if you delete an item, there will be a short amount of time where you'll still be able to recover those emails, right? They also have the security in place at an infrastructure level, so physical security, right? Making sure that the building is physically secured, and also patches and security updates in their software. And then as a regulatory provider, that role is a data processor, right? So they're making sure that they're SOX, HIPAA compliant, all the industry certifications to make sure that your data is being stored somewhere secure and up to all the latest industry standards. But that's it. So when we look down here at the bottom of your responsibility, first and foremost, it's your data. So the access and control of your data is all up to you, right? And we'll see in a few slides from here that Microsoft explicitly spells this out in their contracts. The Office 365 backup solution. So it's your data. You need to be able to have a backup of that data in case of things like accidental deletions, confusing retention policies, right? And we're going to get into all that here in just a little bit. At the data level, we see some of the different things, accidental deletion, malicious deletions, employee retaliation, evidence tampering. We also see some ransomware. There's actually a really cool video out there on YouTube that shows someone creating a cloud ransomware strain. An unexpected employee, maybe they're working super busy all day. They don't really take the time. They see this email from Microsoft. They click it, or what appears to be from Microsoft. They click that email. Next thing you know, all their emails have been encrypted, and there is another email that follows asking for a Bitcoin ransom in order to get that data back. Right, and so this final thing here is the role as a data owner, right? So when you're thinking about the critical information of that data and the customer's responsibility to own that data and safeguard it, right? That is your responsibility. So that's the shared responsibility model there. So let's get into some 6 specific reasons why you need a backup of Office 365, right? We see here the accidental deletion, right? Office 365 doesn't really care why you're deleting something. They're going to ask, are you sure? And that's it. Once you delete it, it's gone. And then after a certain amount of time, it will be permanently purged from the Office 365, and there's no way to get it back. right? And that kind of leads us into the second one, which is the retention policy confusion. Office 365 has different retention policies for different items, whether that's the inbox, the recently deleted, and different items in the Exchange database. Internal security threats. So again, this could be the malicious insiders, an employee who's leaving. Maybe he or she has done something kind of on the shady side. They want to delete all their emails before they go. And that's really one of the biggest threats we see is the internal security threats. And we also have external security threats. I mentioned the video on ransomware. If you want to check that out, there's a website called NoB4, and that's NoB and the number 4. And you can kind of see that ransomware strain hitting an Office 365 account in action. Legal and compliance requirements. So, when someone does leave a company or if there's been some kind of litigation, you may need to keep those emails for years and years. And Office 365 by default doesn't really offer those kinds of compliances. And then managing hybrid deployments and migrations, right? So Veeam likes to position itself as more than just a backup and recovery solution. We kind of call ourselves the leaders of intelligent data management, and that means being able to migrate. As we see a move from traditional on-prem data centers, now we have cloud-native apps, right, like Office 365. You still have your on-prem. And we have a lot of customers, they want to go from in and out of the cloud, be able to move that data very quickly and efficiently. So that's another reason why you might want to use a backup of Office 365. Okay, so let's take a look at the retention policies. Now, when we see it laid out here, it seems, hey, this wouldn't be too hard to follow, right? But in the real world, when you're burning the candle at both ends and, you're busy, a lot of times you don't realize that your retention may not be what you think it is, right? So we have, different kinds of retentions. The inbox kept for a couple years, then it's archived. Deleted items after 1 month are permanently deleted, right? And if you could go to the next slide, actually a really interesting statistic is that the average length of time from data compromise to discovery is over 140 days, while the default settings are only protecting you from 30 to 90 days. So basically that means that by the time you realize that your retention wasn't what you thought it was, it is already too late. However, with Veeam and phoenixNAP, you're able to keep the data as long as you need. It's completely up to you. And Joel, maybe if you want to speak on the phoenixNAP side about how those retentions works, and maybe even talk a little bit about your recovery processes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brandon. So, our solution is designed to protect the data for 3 years as a default. We can specify a longer retention, and depending on the size of the data, that may edge the price up a little bit. But we are targeting a low cost, a list price of $3 per seat per month, which includes a 3-year retention policy across all of the data that's included in that backup. So that's going to protect the customer for a much longer duration than what is native to Microsoft Office 365's built-in solution. And the process is really simple. It is a managed backup solution provided by phoenixNAP, powered by Veeam, Office 365 backup. So we install the components in the customer's Office 365 stack. We essentially, ask for and get the credentials necessary to install at the admin level, so we can see the data flows and we can get attached to the Exchange environment, and then we can then back up those Exchange mailbox users, and we can do it at granular level. We can, if an organization has 1,000 users, they could handpick 200 users that they want to protect their data. Or we can do every user in the Office 365 org. So that is one thing that's unique about this. On the other hand, if they are going to select the upcoming SharePoint or OneDrive protection, they are going to have to select all users. So that's one caveat I want everyone to be aware of, that all users would need to be then backed up from an email perspective if they're using the SharePoint or OneDrive features that we're currently integrating and will be launching here at the end of Q4. Any questions on that so far? Okay. It's just a quick high level, more of a, something a sales engineer might want to put in front of a customer. If there's any sales engineers on the phone that want to see how the architecture is laid out, there's a great diagram that we can provide to you so you can share this with customers. The whole point here, we're going to reach out into their Microsoft Office 365 instance, and we're going to install the correct components, so that way we can then target phoenixNAP, Cloud Connect, and Office 365 Managed Backup storage location. The other component that we're going to, customers can open a ticket with a knock, so that way they can enact a granular file restore or recover data that way. They also have access to the Veeam Explorer for Office 365, where they can still, take care of things on their own. So they're not going to lose complete control of that data that's in our cloud. So they can use that component to manage their data as well. Brandon, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. But that is a really cool feature, is the ability to have the service provider handle all the backups and store all the data, be responsible for that, and still allow those customers to do their own restores, put an email right back into a mailbox, PST export, and there's an advanced find feature as well. So maybe you don't remember who sent the email, but you remember who was CC'd, or some other value from that email. We have the ability to search through those emails and find exactly what you're looking for.
So basically, you are going to retain control of your data by using Office 365 Managed Backup, and it's your responsibility to protect it. If a governing body, or if there was some e-discovery that came down the line and they asked you to produce the emails, it would be your responsibility to make sure you could do that. So as the partner to many of the end users that might have deployed Office 365, I think it's your responsibility to ask them, do you use Office 365? Are you aware of these gaps? Are you aware of these potential legal pitfalls, security and compliance pitfalls by using the solution without having complete control of your data? So those are great questions that'll get them thinking, and it'll definitely get you on the right track to having a good conversation with them. And if it goes as far as them being interested in getting a quote or learning a little bit more, that's a great time to reach out to your Veeam sales engineer, your phoenixNAP sales team and channel team, to go ahead and let us know that you have a customer that needs to learn more. So these are services that we are currently launching. These are part of the Veeam Office 365 backup product today, which is protection for the OneDrive and the SharePoint file server. So on our end, we're just putting the components together so that way we can do a good job of backing this up. So this is going to be launched, from what I'm told, here at the end of Q4. Some customers are going to have some questions around how we ensure business continuity, and also, if we're outsourcing this to a provider, what are you doing with our data? What kind of access do you have? So in full transparency, they are going to be giving us credentials that get us into the Office 365 environment for their business. So they're going to have to trust us as a service provider. We do provide encryption at rest for all of the data, so that way the data is protected. And of course, we follow best practices when it comes to network security, and many of the compliances and security that needs to be built into the cloud platform are already there. We also deliver an advanced restoration and troubleshooting ticketing system, so they can open tickets with a knock, or again, use the Veeam Explorer to take care of whatever it is. If they have an IT staff that wants to handle that themselves, they can still manage it themselves. It is a pay-as-you-go solution. Like I said, we are targeting, it is a $3 per seat list cost per month. There are discounts for term and volume that are going to be offered. In most cases, the only companies, I believe there's only one other provider that is doing a different model where it's a separate price for storage based on per seat, but ours is all inclusive. So there's no math to figure out how much storage they have, and so you don't need to pay for anything extra. Custom configurations, again, we do have the flexibility of providing backup for just a number of seats versus the entire environment, provided they're not also backing up the OneDrive or SharePoint files. And flexible retention schedules. Like I said, 3 years is the default configuration. We can extend that to 5 years or 7 years. So there are companies that are in the finance or other space where they're going to retain data for a little bit longer period of time. We can work with them and, again, provide a custom, flexible solution that'll meet their needs. Any questions so far? So as many of you on the call are partners with us today, we just want to make sure that you think about adding this service to your portfolio and asking the questions of your customers, so that way you can help de-risk your business. There certainly are going to be competitors that go after this piece of the business, and this is MRR that you can use to help grow and continue to organically grow with your existing customer base, many of which are going to be using Office 365 now, if not in the future. And don't forget to keep us in mind, we are a strong co-location, security as a service, and infrastructure as a service provider. So we were talking today specifically about Office 365 managed backup. And I want to make sure that you're aware of the other services that we provide, including cloud hosting and security as a service with alerting and monitoring, as well as a new platform for remediation that'll be launching in 2019. So many of you are familiar with Office 365 Backup, what it's going to do for your customers, and how we're going to be able to attack that market. A quick refresher on Veeam Cloud Connect. Clearly, if the customers are using Veeam in their on-prem data centers today or in their co-location facilities, or potentially with another cloud provider, they could provide, they could get their data offsite and also protect it in the same way with our Veeam Cloud Connect product, backup for cloud, or replication for cloud for disaster recovery. So with the Veeam ecosystem, we have the Cloud Connect backup, replication, and Office 365 being able to provide a comprehensive backup solution for our customers. Any questions that we can help answer? Brandon, is there anything you would like to add?
Not specifically. Guys, just keep in mind that there's lots of different use cases for these types of software solutions, and once phoenixNAP releases the SharePoint and OneDrive support, there's a lot more to think of than just doing backups. For instance, I had a service provider the other day who had a customer who was a rather large enterprise data center, and they were actually acquiring other companies. And so they wanted to use the Office 365 product to back up SharePoint sites and then migrate those into other SharePoint sites as they acquired that business. So again, just keep in mind that this is more than just a backup and recovery tool. It can also be used as a migration tool to kind of merge on-prem and cloud-native backups and data into other companies and organizations. And if anyone needs a personal demo or needs to talk to a customer about this, we'd be happy to help with that as well.
Thank you, Brandon. Absolutely. Well, we're here. We've got a full set of resources. Current channel managers that you can contact are listed here. Peter Marr, who is in the Eastern region, Eric Carlson, who is in the Midwest region, and very soon Brandon Beverly in the West region, and Scott Bradley in the Pacific Northwest will be able to assist with any questions you might have and be able to link you up with a direct seller and sales solution engineering support from phoenixNAP. With that, everyone, thank you for joining our call today, and have a great day. we'll take questions via email at joelw@phoenixnap.com after the call. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.